Welcome back to the channel, guys. Tum here, Energia Martial Arts. With me today is special guest Rick Ellis. Nice to have you, brother, from The Art of Skill. He did an amazing seminar here at the Energia Martial Arts gym yesterday. I'm not going to talk about that. He's going to show us a guest technique today. Let's get to it. Oets.
So side control is one of my most dominant positions. I play side control a little bit different, so I thought I would show some ways to play it that I think are going to make you more effective. So let's go this way. So standard side control tends to be very perpendicular. I'm, trying to control his face with the cross face. I might have an underhook. I'm pulling him in, and this is fine. This is, good classic standard side control. There are some problems with this position, I think. Number one is that if he can get an elbow in and create a frame, this is a problem for me. If he can get a frame under the neck, this is a problem for me because it lets him create space, and space is the enemy. I want to take up the space. He's trying to create the space. So what I'd prefer to do instead is move myself up more, maybe 35, 40 degrees higher, sometimes even slightly above the head, because that's going to pull this arm way out of position. He doesn't really have a useful frame on this side, and it's very difficult for him to escape from this position. And I've got options for attacking the arm on this side. I've got options for attacking the arm on this side. Before we look at those options, let me talk about how we want to get ourselves into that position. So if we start in standard side control, what I need to do is get myself here. Let's turn this way. What I need to do is get myself into that armpit. And there's two ways that I typically do that. Number one is I will switch to Kazuri Kesa momentarily, get tricep control, really lift on that tricep, and then it's my entire body against his arm. The second way that I get into that position is I will momentarily take my knee and weave it. Now this assumes that he leaves a little bit of a gap there. If he really has that good elbow discipline here, I'm not going to use this way of doing it because that's not going to work. So if he has a little bit less elbow discipline, a lot of times I can weave that knee in, and then I'm just going to walk and get myself very high up. So those are the two ways that I typically do it. Probably more often than not, I prefer to come in, weave, and get that good connection, and now I can walk and get myself up into that high side control position. So now that we're here, let's look at the finishing options. I've got probably the easiest would be a straight arm lock on this arm. I like to straighten my arm because then it becomes a full body motion against him. If I move up even higher, sometimes that arm ends up bent a little bit, and I can even hit an Americana in this direction. And of course, we always have Tum's favorite, a little wrist lock right there. The second thing we can do is hit something on this side. Americana is always an option. I like to roll my shoulder to get that exposure. Now I can drop, come in. We want to pin the hand on the mat, take out the slack, and then lift. Or if this arm ends up on this side, that's a beautiful invitation for the arm bar on this side. I'm going to gather the tricep, come in, and really I want to get that downward pressure with my elbow here. I need to control this arm as I transition all the way through, and the way we do that is applying pressure. I lift up, I'm going to just weave myself around. I'm able to make this leg right because I've created a post, and I can pivot myself into position, pull him in tight, lift with the bottom leg, pinch my knees together, and we can get a nice classic arm bar. So those are some ideas from that top position. So play around with this idea of going, instead of 90 degrees perpendicular, going more 30 degrees higher, 45 degrees higher. Even play around with getting past the head on this side with your knee, because that's going to make this position very dominant, and again, it makes this arm very easy to attack, a lot of control on this side, and I think your finishing rate and your ability to get the tap is going to increase quite a bit.
Super cool, man. Can I borrow this for a second? So we did this yesterday, and guys, I think most people already hate being on bottom side control. I know I do,
Yeah.
especially because I'm lighter. But this made it even worse. Yesterday we did this in the gi. I was stuck at this angle. My arms were stuck at my head. I was like, oh man, this is not a good place to be. One question, especially in no-gi, how do you deal with people then trying to go out of the back door, like a ghostway escape? Like they're not trying to regard, but if you switch the hips, how do you deal with people maybe trying to go out?
Show me what you're thinking there.
So we're here.
Yeah.
You walk up higher.
Yeah, a little higher.
And people trying to.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So we have to be ready for those, those contingencies. And if I'm really tight, especially if I crossface and I pull it right here. So a lot of times I will start with this crossface, even though I'm up high enough that I can be over the top. But when I'm over the top, there's a little bit of gap he can maybe exploit. Yeah, right there. But that's okay. Before he goes, maybe I switch, or as that arm goes down, maybe he's inviting me to a north-south choke.
Perfect.
You know, there's always options if I can get ahead of your defense, and you're not ahead of my ability to get ahead of your defense.
Perfect. Well, perfect. Thank you, guys. Rick, where can people find you on YouTube or socials?
The Art of Skill on YouTube is probably the easiest way to find me, or my website, rickellis.com.
Perfect. I'll put a link in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Rick, thank you so much. And see you in the next one.
I appreciate it.